Welcome to another Cardinals Nest 2.0. This is the show where we interview former student athletes and coaches at St. Mary's University and get caught up with what they're doing now. I'm Dean Beckman, the faculty athletics representative for St. Mary's. My co-host, as always, is Donny Nadeau, the sports information director, and Steve Miller, class of 1988, is our guest today. And Donny, Steve is certainly no stranger to the men's hockey community. Is he really well known? We'll get to all of his positions since he's left St. Mary's. Currently, he is the associate head coach at Ohio State University.
Yeah, and when you said the Cardinals Nest is about former players and coaches, well, we got one of both. So we get the best of both worlds. With Steve played for St. Mary's under Don Olson and also coached with Coach O. So Steve, it is so great to see you. I haven't seen you in quite a while, and was really looking forward to this show and glad you could make the time and be able to be on with us today.
Thanks, Donny, and nice to meet you, Dean. And thanks for having me, guys. Obviously. It's always good to see old faces, right, from the old memory lane, and then meet someone new from, a place that had a great influence, has had a great influence on my career. That's for sure.
Well, and let's talk there first. I mean, what was it? How did you? I guess before we talk about your coaching path, which has been amazing, let's talk about your hockey path. How did you end up at St. Mary's as a player?
There's always a story, right? So my guidance counselor at Sun Prairie High School was friends with Tony Piscatello. And he kind of said to me, what do you want to do in college? Do you want to play hockey? He knew I was done playing football just because I was never going to be not big enough to play college football. So you still want to play hockey? I said, yeah, I'd love to play college hockey. So he said, well, take a look at this place. It's in Winona. And so I apply, get rejected, go through the application process where I have to come on campus. I met with Dr. Floodstrom, Dr. Lutmers, and then I had one more meeting, and forgive me for I do have usually a pretty good memory. I forget the last meeting. And then obviously meet with Tony. And then, they after me meeting with everyone, and I got to meet Coach briefly. And so I got accepted. So here I was going to, graduate from Sun Prairie High School in 1983, and I was going to go to Winona, Minnesota. And I was told we're going to have a JV team. And so let's just go and see. And so we show up on campus, and Donnie, you're already there. I think you're a sophomore that year. I think there's like 80 guys trying out. Everyone you meet on campus is trying out for the team. And you start doing the math and you're like, wow, there's going to be people getting cut here. You know what I mean? And so you go through tryouts. You have a good tryout. I felt I had a good tryout, but I made one mistake in tryouts. And I decided to get frustrated in a practice. And I two-handed someone from my dorm from St. Ed's, Mike Updike, across the chest. It was a good two-hander, and Coach O was not happy, and understandably so. And so started the season on the JV team, and I played the entire year on the JV team, and had a good experience there. I think Coach Hildreth was coaching there then, and at the end of that year, there was news coming up across the wire back in Madison that Madison was going to get a USHL team. And so I kind of had a deal with my dad. I said, well, I'm going to go to every tryout until I get cut. And then when I get cut, I'll go back to school. And so I didn't get cut until January. So made the first team and all that stuff. I got to play junior hockey in the USHL. Obviously, I wouldn't recommend that for weighing only 125 pounds at the time. But it was a great experience, and kind of went back to school and just kind of like pondered my next play, next move. And by the start of the next season, you got serious about, taking care of yourself away from the rank and training, and was fortunate to make varsity the next year and then play the next 3 years for Coach. So that's how it all kind of that's the long and the short of it. Kind of complicated.
And really, I mean, you were able to take a path that really nowadays we can't do it. We don't have a JV team anymore. So you were able to, for you were able to get your foot in the door, so to speak, and play that year. You were amazingly fortunate to play USHL after having already started college. But talk a little bit about those 3 years, because they were really important years in program history. I mean, it's you made it to the national tournament. You guys won the
no, we didn't make it. We came close. We won
right.
So my first year there, that first year on varsity with coach, that was Mike Bauer's senior year and Jim Buckingham and those guys. And I think we'd all say to a man that we kind of underachieved that year. We had a tough year after coming off the year before when they, with Dave Revere and those guys, they had a really strong year. And that's the year the bubble fell down and all that stuff. So we they got the bubble back up. And then that was the last year in the bubble. So we didn't play as well as we should have that year as a team. And then that next year with the leadership of Dave Anderson and John Brandt, Dougie Lord, just to name a few, obviously they were seniors. We were able to finish second in the league, and we had a great playoff series with St. Thomas. Epic finish to that one, the way it worked out. 2 games total goals, and we lose the first game 2-0, and 3 minutes into the second game on Saturday, we're down 2-0. So we're actually losing the series 4-0. The game, 4-0, because it's a 120-minute game. Come back to tie, and then they beat us in double overtime. Tony Corella, Hill Murray kid, hit the game winner there against us. But we graduated a lot of players, and then coming into my senior year was kind of everything was up in the air, and we didn't really have a lot of defensemen returning. And then 2 of our young defensemen who played JV, Matt Whelan and Chris Raish, they were going to Europe to study for first semester. And so Greg Mattson volunteered to go back to defense. Billy Novkowski volunteered to go back and play defense. Lauren Nelson played defense. And lo and behold, by the end of the year, we won the league, I think, in the first time in 28 years, which was pretty cool. St. Thomas was chasing us. We had to go on the road the last weekend of the year and sweep Concordia to win the league. It was pretty neat experience. Brad Mattson and Brad Wiley and Phil Sukel led that team offensively, and it was and then Mark Staub and net, and the great leadership of Greg Mattson. You never would have figured it at the beginning of the year. At the end of the year, we'd be talking about how disappointed we were to lose a playoff series to St. Thomas for the MIAC playoff championship. It was at home, and we thought we were still in position to get an at-large bid, but they decided to take 3 teams from the NCHE instead of taking 2 and 2. That senior year is still a lot of cool stuff happened that year.
And then Steve, immediately you kind of transitioned. You went from player to coach. Talk a little bit about that transition, because it started up right away as soon as you graduated from college.
Yeah, I always knew I was going to be a coach. When I was a young kid, I always appreciated, I've told people this, me and my dad would watch game upon game of football, baseball, hockey, and I always appreciated how it all worked. And I guess, I was a fan watching those games, but how all the pieces fit together, how the superstar players would be better than everybody else and how they rise to the occasion, how the guy that no one thought would have any impact in the game would all of a sudden in a big game have an impact for the win. I always appreciated that stuff. I knew I was going to be a coach when I was a freshman in high school. I always thought I was going to be a football coach. That was my first love. Football was my first love. We couldn't afford organized hockey until I was a 9th grader in high school. We had an outdoor rink every year, since I was 5, and we played in the outdoor rinks growing up in Sun Prairie. But I was going to be a football coach. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. And then all of a sudden you take a different path with a different sport. Still love football. It was my first love. I always told my dad I was going to play quarterback in the NFL. Bless his heart for just kind of rolling with it. And then all of a sudden, once I graduated, I started talking to Don right away, and I was making recruiting calls that, right after I graduated, I was on the phone making recruiting calls for kids to convince them to come to St. Mary's. But I just knew that that's what I wanted to do from an early age.
Steve, we want to get into your coaching career, of course, after St. Mary's. But as the faculty athletics representative here, I'm always curious to know academically your thoughts on St. Mary's. What did you major in when you were here, and what were some of the things besides hockey, of course, that you loved about the school?
I think I was like I really had to take school serious, and I never really took it serious until my last year of high school. And then I was always a history guy and a political science guy. Those are the things that kind of like I really liked. And I'm sure Donny remembers this name, but I take philosophy with Dr. Cola Pietro, I think his name was, and I really struggle in that class, but he helped me a lot. And then Dr. Floodstrom helped me with my grammar and all that stuff. But the biggest impact for me was the first class I took with Dr. Jeff Hyland. It was just like, I like this guy. He's fun to go to, it was fun to be in his class. It was him and Dr. Rogers in the political science department were fun. And again, I love history. I'm a history guy, but those guys had an impact on me early. Like, I want to be a political science major. So I was a political science public administration major. And that has a lot to do with Dr. Hyland and Dr. Rogers. I just enjoyed their classes. Me and Dr. Hyland couldn't be any more different politically. And but he just had a way of explaining things and making class. I never came out of one of his classes bored. I didn't. He was a great teacher. He was a great teacher.
And you moved from St. Mary's. You coached one year, correct? You coached the 1 year at St. Mary's?
No, 3 years with Coach O.
Okay.
3 years with Coach O.
Then,
he took a sabbatical 1 year, so 3 years with Billy. When me and Coach Farron would do the JV, and then I'd help with varsity, and then I'd recruit for Don and recruit for, so I was kind of doing everything, which was great.
Yeah.
For me at that time, because that's what I wanted to get into. So I'd go to Detroit, try to find players there, USHL, try to find, because at that time USHL kids were still going to play Division III, watch high school in Wisconsin, Minnesota, Illinois. So I was all in, this is what I wanted to do. And the 3 years there, and so thankful for the opportunity, not only for the opportunity Coach gave me to play for him, but also to work for him and coach with him. And then that third year started coming along, and me and Coach started talking, like, what's the next move and stuff like that. Because I had a dream of coaching Division I. He goes, well, let's just start writing to some schools, because at that time there was assistantships with Division I programs. And I wrote to every Division I program. I still have all those letters, all the replies back. And I got a letter from Miami. And because they had a long history of graduate assistant coaches there who had gone through the program, and applied to grad school, and went there and got accepted, got a chance to meet Coach Gwozdecki. And, he kind of said, this is going to be your role. This is what I want. And then, lo and behold, when it's all said and done, I get to, me and George work together for, I think 22 or 23 years, trying to do the math.
You went with him to Denver, correct?
Yes. So we spent 3 years together in Miami, and then I moved with him to Denver. Yes, we moved together. Correct. He's godfather to my son. Just talked to Coach the other day, so still in contact with him all the time.
Now, you had a stop in Providence.
Yep. So when Coach Gwozdecki was left Denver, when they made a coaching change, the new coach came in, Jim Montgomery came in, and he said I could stay. And so I was working with him for half a year when an opportunity came up for me to work in the United States Hockey League with the Madison Capitals. Were coming back into the league. And I did that for 5 months. And then an opportunity kind of came out of nowhere to work with Nate at Providence, and had a lot of respect with him for Nate. And it was just too good opportunity to pass up after again, spent 5 months with Madison, and we were putting the team together. We did the draft, we did the futures draft, drafted some good players, got that team set up. And all of a sudden in May, made a decision to take the opportunity of Providence. Some things that happened with Madison. We made kind of a decision to kind of separate. And then a week later, everything came together with Providence, and it was too good family's still in Colorado. That was difficult, but by the end of the year, we're in the Boston Garden and we're playing for it all. And unbelievable. I've been very fortunate, guys, very fortunate with some great opportunities.
Well, I think that if Dean were to read your whole bio, it would take us like an hour to get through it all. But you say you're fortunate, and I guess anybody that's won 3 national championships, 5 Olympic medals, you can say you're fortunate. But I think that you're a very good coach, and that's obvious with the accolades that you have accomplished. If you could kind of, I don't know how you can compare them, but 3 national championships, correct?
3, yep.
And 5 U.S. junior gold or junior national medals, 2 gold,
4.
2 golds,
Yeah, we didn't
silver, and a
last year.
bronze.
Yep.
Can you just put into words? You're at the pinnacle in both of those sports or in both of those areas. Can you put into words what that's like?
Well, I think with the medals and for the World Junior experiences, like I've told people, like, you've coached in national championship games and coached in big games in college, but you've done that with a group of kids that you've brought along in a 6-month process. And with people you might have known, there might be a person in your program you've known for 5 years, their family for 4 years. There's that connection, that relationship built over a time where all of a sudden together you reach the pinnacle, and it's unbelievable. Then you have the other experience where all of a sudden you're put together with our country's best that are available. And your challenge is taking our country's best, playing against Canada's best, Russia's best. Now, there might be kids in that age group who are playing in the National Hockey League for Canada, for us, for Russia. That's all part of the challenge. But so when you step on the ice, it's best on best. So everyone, it doesn't matter if you're playing Slovakia, it doesn't matter if you're playing Kazakhstan, everyone's got a good power play. You know what I'm saying? Like everyone's got a good goalie. Now they might not be as deep. They might not be as, physically developed, like the Slovakians this year, their leading scorer was a 16-year-old. I mean, like he's going to play in the National Hockey League one day. You know what I'm saying? So, but their power play is being run by a 16-year-old, but it's still a really good power play. And so it's, there's no, like, you can't take penalties. Not that you can take penalties in college, but like, it's such a fine line between winning and losing that I always say there are very hard games to win, but very easy games to lose. You know what I mean? Like last year, for example, we struggled on the kill. And it was like, and that obviously as a coach, man, what could I do better? What could I have done better? Did we give the guys too many reads? We had to tweak some things going into this year. And we did. We learned from last year. And, I called Scott Sandelin right away. And I wish I could have been better for you last year. I wish because so we had 7 penalty kills against the Russians. Our best game last year was against the Russians. They went 0 for 7 with a 5-on-3. We had to kill 3 5-on-3s last year. We have to kill 1 5-on-3 this year. This year total, all we had was 14 penalty kills to kill. I think it was the lowest in the tournament. Last year in one game, we had 7 alone. You know what I'm saying? So you talk about discipline. You cannot win this tournament in the box. Because the other thing about the penalties, it takes you out of your flow. It takes your skill guys out of their flow. They got to sit because a lot of your high-end offensive players, you're saving them for power play and 5-on-5. They're not killing. Other guys are killing. So now they're kind of sitting on the bench, getting cold. They want to be on the ice, produce. Now we got to kill another penalty. You know what I mean? So the challenge of the World Junior Tournament is it's like when I'm retired, I'm going to sit back and say, oh my God, that was unbelievable. And then some of the kids on the ice, you see that like, did he really do that? No way. Did he do that? You know what I mean? So not to say that doesn't happen in college, but they're just kind of two different experiences. And if someone, what's your favorite? Well, there are no favorites. That's like asking my kids, who's my favorite? They're all my favorite.
It had to be special this year, though, to bring home gold. I mean, that had to just be phenomenal.
Yes. And I think the thing that, you're in the bubble, we had to go to we had to make our own bubble in Plymouth. you go through the adversity of guys failing a test there that would have made the team. We had adversity before we came there. We had guys fail tests before they came. And then we're just off. This is us. This is us. And the guys bonded, they came together, and we're in Edmonton. We land, and then we're right to a hotel room. You can't leave your hotel room for 5 days. We got bracelets on. They're bringing us our food. You know, Coach Lehman did a great job with our Zoom meetings and getting the guys to talk. And we had, you know, Patrick Kane talk one day, Dylan Larkin, Charlie McAvoy, Derek Lalonde from Tampa Bay. When they won the Stanley Cup this past year, they won it in the Edmonton bubble. So we had a lot of things to get them engaged and get them to talk about themselves. We felt like a team, like the Zoom, we got them to talk about themselves and talk about their teammates. And we felt like a team when we came out that Friday. And, you know, we faced some adversity early with the Russia game. And we, you know, got our swagger back, got our confidence back, kept building. And, you know, the story about the barrels, you know, the next barrel up is a great story. It was a great focus by Coach Lehman. And there was no sense of panic ever. You know, Slovakia makes it 3-2. We're fine. We'll get the next one. Make the next play. Finland ties us 3-3 with 3 minutes to go. We'll be fine, boys. There was, you know what I mean? Like on the bench. And then as the third period's winding down and Canada's pushing and they're pushing hard, the bench was calm. The guys were calm. And, you know, and all of a sudden when we get that last puck out with 13 seconds left and Patrick Moynihan's got it at the red line, it finally hits you. Like, there's no 2-point shot or 3-point goal, right? It finally hits you. The puck's at the red line, 13 seconds left to go on the clock. We just won gold. We just won gold. And I'm so happy for the kids and their dedication, their commitment to each other. And the group of 01s that were on the team last year who faced adversity. Like the tournament didn't go as well for them as they wanted to. All of us. And then for that group to come back and like Trevor Zegras and Cole Caulfield and Alex Turcotte, Matt Boldy, Cam York, the leadership that they had, Spencer Knight, the leadership that they had, and what they brought to the table every day in practice and a calmness, it was pretty special to see and be part of.
Well, we've got a few minutes left here, Steve. And first of all, I want to recognize that you were the recipient of the Terry Flanagan Award, which of course goes to outstanding achievements for assistant coaches. So I think we need to recognize that as well. Tell us about your time now as associate head coach at Ohio State, and then we'll let Donny ask one more question to close things out.
No, it's been a great experience. I mean, at the end of my second year at Air Force there, Coach Rollick had an opening, and me and Coach Rollick know each other a long time. He teammates of mine at St. Mary's know Coach Rollick from being his teammate or after or before him when he was at Hill Murray High School. Scotty Faust wore 19 at Hill Murray High School, and when he handed it off to Steve Rollick the next year when Rawls was a freshman or a sophomore at Hill Murray. You know, so there's a lot of connection to Steve. I met Steve a long time ago in Madison when my brother was working the college club, and Steve would go to the college club. That's when me and Steve met for the first time, and there's a connection. Rawls is tight with Kevin McMahon, soccer player. Yep. They're the same. They played soccer together at Hill Murray. So there's a connection there. Obviously, me and him competed against each other when I was at Denver. He was at Duluth. We're in a lot of the same rinks, you know, talking, you know, good kind. And when he reached out and talked to me, I said, absolutely. What a great, it'd be awesome. And we were fortunate to go to the Frozen Four that first year. And then, you know, we beat Denver to go to the Frozen Four. Then the next year we won the Big Ten, first time in school history. I think it's the second time that we won a conference championship. I think they won the old CCHA back in like 73. And last year we were on track to make the NCAA tournament again before, you know, COVID, and it would have been the first time in school history that the team would make the NCAA tournament in 4 years. So again, I kind of jumped in along for the ride, which has been great. This year we've had our struggles with COVID and injuries and youth, and we got that team from up north coming down here tomorrow. So no better team to get on track with tomorrow night.
I know back in the day, you made a few appearances at our hockey camps, did a little coaching. So rather than question, Dean, I have a story. This is Steve to a T, because the guy does nothing but win. Okay. And when you coach in a camp, every night you have a game and you just run your lines. You have 4 lines, you run them 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Every time the horn blows, you change lines. Not Steve. Steve would play those games to win. If his first line was out there against your 4th line, that was his advantage, and he was going to play it to win. But I really kind of respected that from him, because, if you look at everything we've talked about today, it's that passion you have, and you can see it just by talking to you, the memories you have from back when you were at school here to all the way up to what happened at the gold medal game. I just love that passion in you, and that has never changed. It didn't change in, when I first met you, when we were students, to today. And I think that that's really cool, and probably why you are as successful as you are as a coach is because you have that passion and that drive to always be the best. But I do have one question, and I don't know if you can answer it without getting
the intramural flag football championship we lost. Don't bring that up.
Everything.
Or the one I had the 80-yard run to win that one.
I don't want you to get in trouble here.
That one? You want to talk about that one or no?
No, I don't. I don't want you to get in trouble.
No.
But it's an either or.
Okay.
Did you like the WCHA or the Big Ten? Since you've been coached at both,
yeah.
Which one did you like better?
That's a tough one, Donnie. I mean, I so much history in the I grew up in the WCHA. 1973 season tickets to Wisconsin Badger games. It was going to watch Minnesota play. We're going to watch North Dakota, Michigan Tech, Denver, CC. It just, that's what you grow up in. You know what I mean? Obviously, you want the Big Ten to get to that level. It was a special league. I mean, there's no ifs, ands, or buts. And I hope when I'm retired, I can say I worked in 2 special leagues. You know what I mean? Like only worked in the NCHC there for a couple months before the Madison Capital job, but I saw some great games in the old Dane, and it was pretty neat. A 77 national champion. Yeah, there's a lot of good memories from the WCHA. And then you get to, you watch those games and those teams and you dream. And then you tell your dad, one day I'm going to work in the WCHA. That was my goal, one day to work in the WCHA. And just to be and you get to work in the CCHA too. What a great league that was too, with back with all the great teams there. So I got everyone gives me Atlantic hockey, WCHA, Nacho, Big Ten, Hockey East. I'm just missing ECAC, right?
Oh, you need the NHL too. You need that Stanley Cup to just round everything out.
Yeah, that'd be a dream goal. But I'd be remiss if I didn't. Obviously, very thankful for a lot of people at St. Mary's. Tony Piscatello's, obviously him letting me into school. But I last year, Scotty Cronenbush had me come and talk to his little squirt team up in Minnesota in Farmington, and Don was there. And I would be remiss if I didn't mention the impact. And he took a chance on me as a player, and he took a chance on me as a coach. And if it wasn't for Coach O and his belief in me as a player and a coach, we wouldn't be having this conversation. And so thankful. And obviously, he just got recognized by the American Hockey Coaches Association. And I have to call him and congratulate him. I'm mad that I haven't done that yet, but been focused on the Buckeyes. But yeah, I would be remiss if I didn't mention how special a man Don is. And we all know how he's an unbelievable person. He's done a lot for a lot of people.
Yep.
No doubt.
All right, 1988 St. Mary's alumnus Steve Miller. Thanks for joining us. Thanks for your time and the conversation.
Thanks, Steve.
Thanks, Dean. Thanks, Donny. I appreciate it, guys. Oh, wait.
All right, that's going to do it. Thanks for watching Cardinals Nest 2.0.